Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So let's down to the brass tacks. The whole point I am making of making this channel is to get an understanding for new hunters and people new to shooting that this can be done on a budget. This can be done without spending an arm and a leg or your entire life savings to go hunting. And you hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, I spent $4,000 to join this hunting club, or I have this, Benelli shotgun or this Tico rifle, and that's all well and good. A lot of people don't have that ability, myself included. So what I'm going to do is through various different videos, I'm going to break it down, and this is just going to be the main icing on the cake, if you will. So I would like to set our cap at $1,200 for a year. Okay, now $1,200 is a good amount of money. It's not just playing around money. To a lot of people that's a bill, that's food on the table, and a lot of people don't have that kind of money just laying around, and I understand that. But if you want to do something, you will allocate the funds. You will make an effort to move everything to accomplish that goal. And $1,200, you break that down over a 12-month period. That's $100 a month. That is $25 a week. That is doable. You can spend that at a convenience store easily. So let's dive into it. So the first and foremost is going to be your rifle. Your rifle is your main tool. And it doesn't even have to be a rifle. It could be a rifle, a shotgun, a bow and arrow, whatever you choose to use as your tool to go hunting. And when it comes to rifles, there are multiple. The list of calibers can go on and on and on. Me personally, starting off, you're going to want a cartridge that's going to fit you. Now, me personally, I like my 30-06. I went and bought a Remington 783 30-06 4-round magazine. It's a great rifle. And I have actually taken every one of my big bucks with that rifle. I paid $300 for it, so we'll set that at the, we'll add that to the budget. Now, first and foremost is going to be your caliber. So I like a 30-06. Some people think the 30-06 recoil is a bit extreme. It's understandable. I get it. I do. So I would recommend starting off. There are a multitude of calibers. You have the 30-30, which is lever action. It is classic. It is iconic. You think of cowboys and Indians. You think of lever actions. 30-30. There's also the 243. Is a very light recoiling round, and it can reach out there and touch whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but it can reach out there and touch your target and deliver the energy to it. You've got a 308. 308's a great round. It's got more recoil than a 243, but it is spitting a 30 caliber bullet, typically in the 150 to 180 grain range. And you've got ARs. ARs are a great one. 5.56, no recoil. Basically, very little. Not a lot at all. And that's what a lot of people will actually lean towards. There's also multiple different calibers for the AR platform. And me personally, I think an AR platform is a good start. It's more intricate, yes, but you can change it. There's so many different things you can do with an AR that they work exceptionally well. So to that point, so we have here, this is a 22 long rifle. Now this is a very small bullet. It's typically used for plinking, shooting targets, squirrels, birds, if you will. It recoils like a BB gun. It's just loud. That's the difference. And not like extremely loud, but it's more than a BB gun, obviously. Now, this is nothing that you will hunt deer with. It's not legal. It's not ethical. Is it doable? Yes. People during the Depression would carry this rifle because they could carry a large amount of ammunition, and they could, go out and hunt with it. Now, when putting food on the table comes down to what you have, you could do it. Now it takes accuracy, extreme accuracy. But for the sake of argument, it is doable. Don't recommend it. If that's what you choose to do, I don't recommend it at all. Game warden will not be happy about it, and that's a problem. But this is a 223. Wait, hold on, I'm going the wrong way. That is a 223 with a ballistic tip on it. Now, this is same caliber. It's still a 22 technically caliber bullet. It's got a lot more powder, as you can tell from the casing. So, that's a huge difference, which changes the velocity. Now, velocity, and Bruce Lee said this great, is speed is power, and that is true. Now, 5.56 is a small caliber bullet, but it all comes down to, as with the 22, as we stated, it is about shot placement. A well-placed 5.56 will outdo a horrible placement 30-06 any day. Perfect, and it's a bit of an extreme example, but the best way to put it is I can go deer hunting with a 50 BMG. It's a huge round. Now, legally, I don't know if that's true, but, just for the sake of argument, 50 BMG is a huge round. It's going to do a lot of damage. If I cannot hit the broadside of a barn with it, it does me absolutely no good. Whereas with that 22, a perfectly, placed headshot, or brainstem shot, if you will do the job every time. So it's about what you can be comfortable with. The bullet will do it. Okay, it's up to you as the shooter to make it happen, to do it accurately and efficiently. Now, 5.56, a lot of people consider it not big enough. I think in some states you can't hunt with 5.56. I know that here in the state of Georgia it is perfectly legal, and I will attest to its efficiency. My aunt, I taught her to hunt for the first time about 2.5 years ago. She took her first deer with a 5.56. That same, actually, believe it or not, a bullet from that same box of ammunition. So it is doable. There's not really as much room for error as, say, a 308, but placement. So, and that's a good one to think about. You also have, in the way of AR cartridges, a new personal favorite of mine is the 6.5 Grendel. It is basically the same bullet as a 6.5 Creedmoor on a 7.62 by 3.9 casing, essentially. And don't quote me on that. So, fast-moving bullet, and it carries some punch. I actually killed the second largest deer I've ever killed with this one. Or not this particular bullet, but with this cartridge. They move fast and they deliver power. At close ranges, you might see issues with expansion, which is not what you want when you're hunting, but it will get the job done if you put the bullet where it needs to be. So then you move on to a classic but a good one, and this one is actually going to be a project of mine this year, as you can see by the rifle behind me. And that's my Grendel that I took the deer with, and we'll look at them in another video at another time. But this is the old classic 243. So this is a 100 grain bullet, and you can tell it is the lead tip. It is a hunting bullet. A lot of people will swear on this bullet, and I've seen what it'll do. And it's a fast-moving round. Now, 100 grains, a little slower than 90 grain, but when you give up speed, you get weight, and when you give up weight, you get speed. Every cartridge is a trade-off. So, but from what I hear, this is a darn good round, and we will put that to the test this year with my nephew's rifle, and you know, we'll see how that goes. Looking forward to that one actually. So this is a 308. So this is basically an offshoot of the 30-06. It is a 30 caliber bullet. This one I believe is 150 grain. An accurate round, packs plenty of punch for anything in Georgia. Anything, even I wouldn't be too far pressed to use that to hunt black bear. Black bear are not the largest animals in the world, and then again, I don't eat black bear, so it's probably not going to ever happen. But I'm just saying, if I had to depend my life on this, I would be confident in being able to do it with this cartridge. And this is a mild recoiling round. It's just not a lot. And if you look at it, the 243 and the 308, same casing. So they just took the 308, which I believe is the parent round, and decided that they wanted a smaller bullet to go in it for a faster projectile. So, and it's apples to oranges. You've got speed with this one and you've got weight with this one, and they will both do the job, So when it comes down to it, as far as calibers go, you have to find the caliber that works for you. Now, if you've never shot a gun before, here's something I suggest to you. If you know someone that owns firearms, convey to them that, you are interested in getting into hunting, getting into shooting. You just don't know a lot. And 9 times out of 10, they will be a plethora of knowledge, and they will more than likely want to take you to the range, want to train you, want to share in that culture with you. And, I'm guilty of that myself. Don't be ashamed to search for knowledge, is what I'm saying. Now, back onto the topic of rifles. So once you discover which cartridge works for you, and like I said, there is a huge list of cartridges, but once you discover which cartridge you want, you can go and find a rifle. Now, budget rifles, and love the air quotes, typically you can get a budget rifle for about $300. That's what I paid for my Remington, and it has done me quite well. Most, if not all of your budget rifles that they make are, accurate. They go through strenuous quality inspection testing, accuracy testing. Most of them actually come with the paper when you buy it that shows the rounds out of it to show you that it is accurate. So, the difference between a $1,000 rifle and a $300 rifle, bells and whistles. And now that's not true in all of them. A Chaytek, I believe is what it's called, 338. It's higher end. It's designed for quality and long range. But here's something that you have to understand when buying a rifle. And I see this a lot. And it's a little pet peeve of mine. You will see someone pick up a rifle and go, I'm going to be a sniper. The rifle does not make the sniper. The shooter is what makes it. It takes skills, honed skills, to get to the level to even want to call yourself, or be able to even anywhere call yourself a marksman, sniper, whatever, what have you. So don't think you're going to go and buy a rifle and be able to shoot a dime at 1,000 yards, right out the box. It's not going to happen. It takes years to hone that skill. That's my 2 cents on that. So, personally, I like the Remington line. So now in the past, they have had issues with quality, and you hear people say that. I've never had an issue out of any of my Remingtons. They've all functioned, flawlessly, and a lot of that has to do with maintenance on it. You want to keep it old, a well-oiled machine is, Anyway, so I've never had an issue with any of my Remingtons. I love them. Now, I have Savages, I've got a Mossberg, I've got different brands, but that's kind of my little my thing there. I like to try different things, and have options. But for someone starting off, find one that fits you comfortably. You can go to, any gun shop and pick up a rifle, get a feel for it. Make sure it fits, good against your shoulder. Make sure it's not too heavy for you. Make sure it's not too unwieldy, because you don't want to be walking through the woods with what feels like a log in your hands. You want something that's comfortable. Main rule, keep your finger off the trigger. Duh. You don't want to go into a gun shop goofing off, because that will be met with, consequences. Now, you might get a scolding or you might get kicked out. That's on you. But so that's my 2 cents on that as far as rifles go. So moving on to the next one, optics. Your gun is only as good as you can shoot accurately, and that comes down to your optics. Now, most of your guns that you buy, budgets in the budget range, come with a scope. Now, these scopes are non-name brand. They're just cheap scopes that they put on them. If you can't afford it, make do with what you can, but I would not trust, I would make sure to sight that rifle and make sure it is on every single time I hit the woods. Every single time. I personally, anytime I buy a rifle and it comes with an optic, I take it off. I just had a bad experience with that same 30-06. I shot at an 8-point at about 175 yards. First shot went over his back. Second shot went underneath him. Third shot was aiming at the heart, and it went through his jugular. So that scope was not anything. I don't know how else to put that. I personally have discovered that Vortex makes a great scope. I bought a rifle that had a Vortex, and it has been my go-to. Paid $120 for one. This one, actually. It's the Vortex Crossfire 2. It is, bullet drop reticle. It's got deterrents on it for MOA adjustments, and that's something you can get into later on down the road as you practice. And it's a good scope. Had it right. They are good scopes. I've never had an issue with them. They hold zero well. They have good clarity on them. And, the price range, you just really can't beat it. Nikon makes good, affordable scopes. So does, trying to think who else makes some. Leupold makes good scopes, but they're on the higher end of price. That one was so good that I actually bought this one to try it out. And it's supposed to be, I think, like a little bit higher quality. It's got the, reticles, everything in it. It's a nice scope. Haven't had an issue, and now, perfect example of, what fits you. So those scopes, I love them. They work good for my eye. I've never had an issue out of them. However, with my nephew's rifle behind me that, will be his hunting rifle this year, he's having a difficult time with scopes. He's not, his head-eye adjustment, he's not really comprehending, however you want to put that. He's not getting it down. So I needed something where he could get better target acquisition quicker. I actually had a scope that I bought from my local Dunham's down in the next town, and it's a Firefield Barrage. I put it on a 223. It has done wonders. I sighted it in when I first put it on there, and every time I go to the range, it holds zero perfectly. Now, on a 243, I've taken it to the range twice, to sight it in, and then the second time was just make sure that it held zero. And it, sure enough, it does the job. It's still dead on zero. It's accurate. It will hold a zero, and it does the job. I think I paid like $60-$70 for that one. And, I have no complaints on it. You don't have to go and buy a $600 scope to do what you need to do. You can get by on a budget scope. Now, you won't have all the fancy bells and whistles, but we're not out there trying to be cool. We're out there with a purpose. And, that's just something to think about. So next up would have to be ammunition, because, you've got your rifle, you've got your optics. It's just like a car. You got to feed the beast. And they get hungry. to put it lightly. So when you're hunting, it's good to have knowledge on your bullet types. So you don't want to use full metal jackets. Full metal jackets are for target practice only. Never hunt with a full metal jacket. If you do, all you're going to do is maim an animal and cause it suffering. And if that's what you're about, then you don't need to be in the woods. Just simply put, your hunting bullets need to expand, to cause hemorrhaging, damage, if you will, whatever terminology you want to use. And as I showed you with the bullets that I showed you, those are all hunting bullets. They are not full metal jacket. They are expansion bullets. Now, the hard part is it is 2022 right now, and ammunition is through the roof. And to give you a perfect example, this is a box of 243 that I bought for my first 243 that I got 2.5 years ago. Now, $17.99. It was originally $25, but honestly, I think that's just a marketing ploy, to be 100% with you. So I got these bullets, $18 plus some change after tax, and I went to the same store that I got these from 2 days ago, and this same box of bullets they want $37 for. That's nuts, but that's the price you pay. Hopefully when hunting season rolls around this year, with people producing and the pandemic kind of simmering out, ammunition hopefully will be easier to find and cheaper. Now, a little ray of sunshine on that is I actually found some 308 Winchester Super X 150 grain bullets for $22 a box the other day, and I was ecstatic. I went ahead and got 3 boxes, and that's what I would recommend for anyone. And I say that because each box comes with 20 bullets, depending. You might find 50 round bullets for certain AR cartridges, but your typical hunting cartridges are going to come 22 a box. Here in Georgia, you can take 10 does and 2 bucks. That is your tag limit. That's what the population that keeps the numbers right, and they go through that every year. So you're not going to use 20 bullets, really. The main objective here is 1 shot, 1 kill. You don't want to be out there filling the sky full of lead. You want to make sure your rifle is accurate. Get your target within your crosshairs, and deliver a quick, clean, precise blow. It's that simple. Now, with that said, 3 boxes, that's 60 rounds. I would go ahead and put that 1 box to the side for hunting season itself. The other 2 boxes, zero in and practice. Now, I know it will get expensive, but that's money cannot buy experience. You have to get out there and do it, and that's the only way you're going to get good at it. So let's just say in a perfect world, ammunition comes down $25 a box. 3 boxes of bullets, $75 plus change. We'll add that up later. So that brings our total to $495 in there. Next up, and this is a big important one that is often overlooked, is where you are going to hunt. Now, when you buy a hunting license, and that's we can get on that one real quick. A hunting license, your hunter safety course is free, and it's mandatory for a good reason, because it teaches you safety. And a lot of people don't think that's necessary. When it comes to firearms, it's absolutely necessary, because accidents do happen, and one accident can put you in a box for the rest of your life. So safety oriented is the way to go. All rules and regulations, do it by the book. That's the best way to do it. So anyway, so let's just say $50 for the license. The land, and this is a big one. So when you buy a license, a certain portion of that goes to certain different things. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but like a perfect example, just to get to the point, a portion of that goes to your conservation, WMAs, All right, now a WMA, if you've never heard one, is a wildlife management area. So there is one right down the road from me that has a free, as long as you have, a hunting or a fishing license, has a free shooting range, and that is an indispensable, thing to have. It's good to go out there and put in time at the range, cool off, and get good at what you're planning to do, hunting wise and recreational, whatever, what minds you. But WMAs also have free hunts. You can go hunting, out there. You have to do the sign in. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row, hunting license. Your orange vest. That is important. And the reason I say that is because it is free. You have a lot of people that will go out there. So you have a lot of people in close proximity, and that orange vest will save your life. Because there's always a fool out there acting stupid, and it's an unfortunate reality. But if you do the right thing and you are safe and according to the rules and regulations, you'll be fine. But for that same reason, that's why I don't personally go to WMA. So we'll move on to the next option. And this one is sometimes overlooked: farmers. Farmers have problems with deer eating their crops, damaging their crops, costing them money. Some of them can't hunt. Some of them, don't have time to hunt. And all it takes is, hey, I know that you own this land, and I know that the deer are messing up your crop. Do you mind if I come hunting? And the worst they can say is no, and it happens. But if they do say yes, and I can't stress this enough, written permission, name, phone number, your intent, signature, all that, because it's good to cover yourself. It's good for the farmer, the landowner, to be covered. And if the game warden decides he wants to pay you a visit, it is imperative that you have that form, that paper. So that's an option. Me personally, for the past 2.5 years, I've hunted on a friend of mine's property. He owns some land out in the country, and it's swampland. And I've had some friends laugh at me. Oh, you ain't gonna see nothing out there. I killed 2 of my biggest bucks out there last year, a 9-point and an 8-point. I want to say one of them was 180 pounds. Carrying him out, he felt like he was 500 pounds. He was heavy. But it different. Never dog on a land or on an area. A free area is a free area. And the deal that I had with him was, and this could work for you, is, hey, if you let me hunt out here, I don't really have the money to pay you anything, but I will split the meat with you. I will go out there, I will kill the deer, I will drag it out, I will clean it, process it, and deliver the meat to you. And some people, that's what they want, because some people don't have time to do it, and that's understandable. And it was a mutually beneficial agreement, and it worked out very well. This upcoming season, I actually got on with a hunting club. A friend of mine from high school, $400 a year, an unheard of deal, but it can happen. So I'm going to lay off the swamp this year, let the population get back to some sense of normalcy. It's not like I went out there and killed everything that moved, but you want to give the deer room to breathe, and it's good to switch up every once in a while. So I think this year I'm going to step back from the swamp and see where that goes. Let the deer get back to homeostasis, if you will. So $400 for the hunting club. That was a steal, really. That includes deer season, hog, turkey, even coyote hunting. Basically anything that you want to hunt, you can do it out there, within the rules and regulations necessary for that area. Those are different tactics you can use. You could just go ahead and find a hunting club. That really comes down to you and your budget and what you can, work with. So, and land is a big one. So just keep your ears out there and see what you come across, because you will be surprised, So the next up would be stands, accessory stuff, stands and camouflage, because you don't necessarily need a stand. And this is, I know y'all probably tired of hearing me babble on, but when I first started hunting, I hunted with my grandfather and a buddy of his, and this story still cracks me up to this day. So we showed up there ready to rock and roll. I was wearing a ghillie suit. I had the paint on my face. I had the scent away on. I had my AR, all decked out, looking like something from a Predator movie. And I had a stand picked out. I was ready to rock and roll. And out comes our buddy. His name's Danny, wearing tan overalls with a cup of coffee, a cigarette in his mouth, and a break action shotgun across his arm. And I remember just being like, dude, we're deer hunting. We're not, we're not going to a barbecue or anything like that. So, and in my arrogance and my youth, I laughed at it. Well, lo and behold, when that day all I saw was squirrels. And towards the end of the hunt, Danny had bagged a 7-point, a beautiful 7-point, and let me say this now. If you are hunting, and you would hear a lot of people say this, oh, I don't shoot nothing less than a 10-point, or if you hunt for meat, don't pay them no mind. You out there to put food on the table. It's not a, it's not a collection. Deer are not a collection. It is, you're going to get out there and put your hunting skills to the test to feed your family, and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, so back to, the story with Danny. I learned a lot that day because, all he made do with the bare minimum. And you can learn a lot from the older generation, the older folks. They've been around for a while and they've learned the tricks of the trade. And, I learned a lot from Danny, and we had conversations. And, a main takeaway from that was, so Danny never hunted out of a tree stand. He sat either on a 5-gallon bucket or on a milk crate or at the base of the tree and actually had success with it. Mind-blowing, right? You didn't have to go and buy a, $200 stand or a $600 box blind or nothing like that. He made do with what he had, and you can too. But he taught me 2 very important rules to that. So, camouflage. Camouflage is great. It gives you room to breathe, room for error. It kind of conceals you, breaks up your pattern. Deer can see the color blue very well, so keep that in mind, But no, Danny never wore camouflage. He wore his overalls and, a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt underneath. And the point for that is deer react on movement. They're not sitting there looking for, a certain pattern. They're looking for movement. Okay, why is this tree, scratching its forehead? So, if you're sitting in a stand playing on your phone, doing whatever, smoking a cigarette, I don't really know, or you goofing off and moving around, making noise, the deer are going to detect you, and that's just the simple fact of it. If you are, you don't have to be, pet, you just no sudden fast movements. So hold on, I think my thing just messed up. Hold on. Sorry about that. Phone was acting goofy. So, anyway, so movement is a big one. And then the deer's #1 weapon when it comes to survival, and that is its nose. Now, there are plenty of companies out there that sell, scent away, stuff like that. And, they do work. But you are not going to 100% fool a deer's nose if your scent is blown to it. It's just not going to happen. Me personally, what I usually do, I went and bought some vacuum seal bags from Walmart. Just simple, like luggage vacuum seals. Wash my clothes and scent away. Put them in the bag. Put some pine straw in there. Leaves, stuff like that. Something outdoor smelling, and vacuum seal it. And it's good. When I get to where I'm hunting, I change my clothes out. Now the coyotes probably get an eyeful, but that's their problem, not mine. But no, that's a good way to keep your scent concealed. And scent away does work. Dead downwind is a good product. That's what I usually use. But it's not an absolute necessity, because then this is something I learned from the old timers. It's about the wind direction. So if you are sitting in a stand here and you have a deer out in front of you and you feel wind on the back of your neck, that wind is going to blow your scent to that deer. And the first time he gets a sniff, you're busted. He's gone. You know, vice versa. You're sitting here, deer's here, and the wind is blowing towards you. You're fine. You know, your scent's not coming back to that deer, and it's smart to anticipate that. You know, if you've got a smartphone, which in 2022 that's the norm. Everybody's got a smartphone. Think tactically. Think, you know, the best way to do it. Hunt your wind. Be still. You know, and you can have great success with it. You know, you can thank Danny for that one. So I think we covered on all the bases. You know, the stands, you can go and get a stand for cheap. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and find them $50 all day long. You know, cheaper than that. You can build one. You can just climb up in a tree if that's what you want, or you can sit on an egg crate. That's all up to you. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, $100, you know, to your budget for a stand, pop-up blind, whatever. Camouflage, it's not necessary. It does help, but it's not absolutely necessary. But go to, you know, right now it's summertime. Go to Goodwill. You can find camouflage shirts and well, here in the South, yeah, you can find camouflage shirts and pants and all that for next to nothing. You could probably get out of there with $20 worth. So licenses, $50. Land, just for the sake of argument, I said about $400. Rifle, $300. Optic, $120. Ammunition, $75. So we are at $1,065. And that gives you a little bit of room to play with, you know, corn, extra stuff, you know, flashlight, backpack, you know, whatever extra that you want. That's plenty to work with. So that is the basic rundown of, you know, what all I want to discuss. And, you know, in later videos we'll go over, you know, the rifle project I have for my nephew and the different rifles that I've used and different aspects of all this. And I mean, if you have any questions, you know, I am not a master, I am not a genius, none of that. I just have been around and I've learned from the old timers, the old folks, and you know, that's knowledge that's going to be passed on to the next generation, as it should be. And you know, if you have questions, put them in the comments. I will do my best to you know, answer them to the best of my ability. And you know, I hear it a lot on YouTube, the like, share, and subscribe. I'm not worried about it. You know, if you want to, that's fine, that's cool. But the main takeaway from this is the information that comes out of it. If I can help somebody get into something that I love and a tradition that I value, it's worth it to me. So, you know, any questions, anything that I can help with, message me. Feel free to. I'll answer it the best I can to the best of my ability. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Bye.